Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you like this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. To kind of follow up with our last video, which was the Black Gaiomon Chronicle engine kind of video, I wanted to follow up with another engine that I really enjoy that I was potentially going to put into like a top 10 video, but just haven't got around to it yet, which is the Dragonkin engine, so the kind of the Medusomon engine. Now, I was very tentative to actually do this profile because it is quite similar to my actual Medusomon profile, but I think it's different enough. I wanted to do it. And plus, it kind of shows the versatility of this engine. You know, a lot of people love this deck, are very excited by this deck, and this is my take on it. So let's get into the card by card. First of all, we have got the Gaiomon, who is obviously part of the overall engine. When security stack is removed from, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with a Reptile or Dragonkin trait in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. So not bad at all. We've then got the Gaiomon, returns a Reptile or Dragonkin from our trash to our hand, and gives us 2000 DP as the inheritable. We've got the Elizamon as well, searching our reptiles, our Dragonkins, and our Liberator traded cards, whilst also netting us a memory with the inheritable effect of when your opponent's security stack is removed from, gain 1 memory. Then our other rookie we've got, you do have to be careful with this one because only one of our level 4s can actually technically Digivolve on top of this, which you could potentially change, you know, if you were to kind of change some other bits in it. This list, you'll if you've been watching the channel and saw our last deck challenge that we did with Team Death Singer, this list is actually kind of similar to the list I ended up using in that video, because we allowed promos and it was a rares only challenge, so I ended up being able to use the Gaiomon no problem, and this Gaiomon would fit in there quite well, and there's definitely some rares that you could use in this deck, like the BT21 Gaiomon that could Digivolve on top of this, just bearing in mind they're not, you know, reptiles or Dragonkins, whereas these guys are, you know, so there is that. But, you know, only your Tyrannomon could Digivolve on top of this, so do just bear that in mind. It's mainly in here for the search, you know, revealing top 4, adding 1 card with Gaiomon in its name and 1 card with Dragonkin, so it can actually double search the Gaiomons, because they're either the Gaiomon in name or the Dragonkin. It'll search your level 5s, you know, so it's not a bad searcher at all. Just bearing in mind, you know, you don't want to be going into your raising if you've only got either Cyclonemon or Dimetramon in your hand, but like I say, you could always change these up for some level 4s that can actually Digivolve on top of it. Then going into our level 4s, I've got 4 copies of the Tyrannomon. In my main Medusomon build, I actually only played this at 2, but in this build, we're playing it at 4 because it's a little bit more important. At the end of the battle, play this card without paying the cost, so, you know, security effect there, not bad, but its start of main when Digivolving effect is a really important thing because it gives us a 3000 DP boost until the end of the opponent's turn. Because this is a red based build, there aren't a lot of like opponent's turn gain 2000 DP effects, unlike if we were using the Chronicle engine, which is something else I talked about in the last video, where I would be very tempted to try out that engine with the Gaiomon cards. You know, so we need to kind of take what we can get to make our Gaiomon as beefy as possible. With this Tyrannomon effect, you know, this will be a 16k blocker on their turn, which is pretty much big enough to block anything, and or match most of what is, you know, really stuff to worry about, like Omnimon X, for example. Also gives 2000 DP as the inheritable as well, so it gets absolutely massive on your turn. And we've got 2 copies of the Cyclonemon, also has a security effect. On play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less, gives 2000 DP as inheritable. Honestly, I would be very tempted to swap this one out and put something else in, like those kind of like the BT14 Gaiomon, for example, or just something that can Digivolve on top of this one. Yeah, there aren't a lot of Dragonkins that we can use in the level 4 slot. If we take a quick little look, there are not a great deal of them. I cannot type today. And there we go. And then if we go to level 4, there we go. So there seems to be a lot of choice, but not really. Like, Dinohumon, nah. 1k minus 1 attacking, not really. The Flamedramon stuff seems good in practice, but A, this one's very expensive, and B, no inheritable. You know, this one, no inheritable either. The Goddess Gamamon giving retaliation would be interesting, but the rest of the effect means nothing to us. You know, so there's not really a lot to go off of in terms of those. Like I said, you could potentially, because again, you don't have really any options in the reptile slot. These are the only 2 we've got, and that's not even a reptile, it just Digivolves off of a reptile. But you could maybe try and use some of the Greymon stuff to digivolve off the Ogumons. There it is, the BT14 Greymon. You know, digivolves off of any Ogumon in name, so it can digivolve off of this whilst also digivolving off of either of these for a cost of 2. Just bearing in mind again, this one is not going to give the 2000 DP boosts to your level 5s. It'll only give them to the level 6s and the Omnimons. You know, but it did work quite well in the res only challenge that we did. So, you know, take that as you will. I think that could be kind of cool. Onto our last level 4, which is Dimetramon. This just helps us play out our Owens and also has that same inheritable as Elizamon, so not bad at all. Then our level 5s, I bumped up Pyildramon from 2 copies to 3, just because he's really, really fucking cool. For the turn, one of your Digimon gains piercing and gets plus 4000 DP, then this Digimon may attack, so it allows you to swing straight in. Then the all turns effect does not matter at all, we're never doing it, but what is really cool is security attack +1 from the Pyildramon effect, and that is also another option you could do as well. You could possibly put in like ST1 Greymon and stuff like that. You know, you could easily swap out this Ogumon for like a different red rookie. One I experimented in the res only challenge was actually Gatchmon, because it gives raid, so that'd be pretty interesting, and especially if we've got more raid inheritables on the way with like the EX9 Biomon, and you know, so definitely some stuff to play around with that. But yeah, the Pyildramon's really good, because we attack in, we remove something with this, so we then digivolve up, then all of a sudden, hey, we've got security attack +1 now, you know, so not bad at all. The Cyberdramon is still nice. I think I dropped it down from 3 to 2, just because of the fact that it's not as important in this build to kind of use it as much, but it can be quite nice, because it is a way of trashing one of their security to trigger your Digimon in case you can't just swing straight in, like if they've got a blocker that's too big or something like that, you know. So you know, this Cyberdramon can be pretty cool, and plus 4000 DP inheritable is nice. Then I've got the Lamiamon at 3. You know, it's got progress. When any of your Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon attack targets change, trash your opponent's top security stack, which would be amazing if you had raid underneath. So another reason to potentially put in some sort of Digimon with a raid inheritable, maybe Zubamon would be a good one as well. I don't have any copies of that though, so I have not really tested with that, but that would be cool. Then the all turns effect, when your opponent's security stack is removed from, you may play one Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon card with 5000 DP or less from your hand without paying the cost. So that's all of your rookies. That's almost all of your level 4s. Obviously you can't play out Tyrannomon, but that is really nice, especially with the promo Gaiomon trashing stuff on their turns, so we can actually use it as an all turns effect. Then going into the Gaiomons, we go to the EX4 one first. This one deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 13 or more. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, which is pretty darn nice. Then if you have end of turn, if you have a Tamer in play, it doesn't matter what Tamer, just any Tamer, this Digimon may digivolve into one card with Gaiomon in its name and a play cost of 13 or more in your hand, ignoring its Digivolution requirements and without paying the cost, which then allows you to go up into your promo. The promo has got reboot and blocker. When digivolving until your opponent's turn ends, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks, and then this Digimon may attack, which is pretty darn cool. Then all turns when attack targets change, trash your opponent's top security stack, so not bad. We then got Omnimon X, who, massive game ender, raid, piercing, blocker, it bottom deck stuff. It's not going to be doing the full version of that effect, just because we don't have X antibody in this build, but the main thing that everyone uses it for, of course, is your end of turn, one of your Digimon may gain rush and attack without suspending. So really good. Then we've got the tie from BT1, gives us security attack +1 to our red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards, and also sets us to 3. We've got the Owen, giving us a memory if they've got a Digimon in play, and then suspend this Tamer. One of your Digimon with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait gains piercing for the turn, and then this Digimon attacks. Raging Serpentine is our first option. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, and then place this card in the battle area. What could also be pretty cool as well is if they've got few enough security, so 3 or fewer, you've reduced the cost of it by 4, so it's no longer an 8 cost, it's a 4 cost. And then all turns when your opponent's security stack is removed from, delay, one of your Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon may digivolve into a Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon card in the hand without paying the cost, which is pretty darn nice. Then we've also got the security effect on there, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, as well as also Garnet Memory Boost, just to help us search everything. Obviously we've got one purely black card in this, so that does really help us. Right, so that is the deck profile. Now let's go into some gameplay, and then after the gameplay we'll look into some tech options you could use with this deck. Okay, here we go. So we do have a look at our hand here for the starting hand. We decide to mulligan, try and see if we get a better one, and kind of don't get a better one, this is a little bit of a rough hand. We do at least have a searcher, but we can't really go in the back and Digivolve up unless we get the Tyrannomon. So I do decide to just hard play that Agumon, and then we're going to do a search, get the Gaiomon, and then grab ourselves a Pyodramon. So we've got all of that live. So all we need now is just a rookie to go in the back. That's all we need. And then we can get to the races. They then go into a lovely tech, Wings of Love, to play out the Marcus and -3, that Agumon. We are going against Shine Greymon, if you hadn't already noticed. We didn't get that rookie, so we're just going to hard play our Owen. We are just praying for that draw right now. This is all luck. Because if we don't get the rookie, we are yucked, you know. And there is that rookie. I've got the Agumon. So we go into the back into the Agumon, and then we are also going to go to the back into the Dimetramon. And then because they're going to go to 3 anyway, we also go to the Garnet. I figured there was no point going the Elizamon, and the Garnet would help us if we needed the memory gain. So I went to the Garnet instead, and then on to their turn. So here they are playing that Agumon to do another search. They will get the Rise Greymon, which is going to allow them to do their alliance shenanigans. I think a lot of this Rise Greymon is cool, but I think a lot of Shine Greymon players fall into a trap of prioritizing this combo with the alliance, because it is really cool and it does really go off really well, but I tend to find it also doesn't have a lot of clapback, because 9 times out of 10 you've done it and then you haven't gone into your level 6 as well, which kind of means you don't have as much ace potential. We're now going to search around for our promo Gaiomon. There it is, so that we can get all of that underway. We managed to get an additional Garnet memory boost from them swinging in as well, which is really handy, because that just means we're just going to leave them on a little less memory when we do what we're going to do next. We then pop that Garnet. We're going to go into the Pyodramon, which is going to leave us on 1. Give the 4000 DP there. We're going to swing into that Rise Greymon because we've got Piercing. Pierce check. There it is. Gain a memory on 0. Then we're going to Digivolve into the Gaiomon for a reduced cost of 1 thanks to the Gigimon egg, which means we're going to leave them on exactly 3, which is ideal because they have got a memory tamer. We trash one of their security because they don't have a big enough to delete, and then we go into the Gaiomon at the end of turn to force the Agumon to attack in. That Agumon is then going to attack in, as brave little soul as he is. We are then going to block it, trash the top of their security, which is a Sunrise Buster. That is great because that is a limited card. Get absolutely wrecked. And then they hard play Burst Mode Ace, which will, because of the amount of tamers they have, -5 our Gaiomon into Oblivion, which is unfortunate. And right now we're a little bit stuck. We go to the Elizamon. We could have tried to search something, but not great. The Raging Serpentine actually here does delete that Burst Mode, and that actually gives us more memory than we started with, which is great. But we've got no way of searching a rookie. We could have used the Elizamon to search not a rookie, a champion. But it just didn't seem like the play at the time because it was the only rookie we had. We've got this Agumon. The Agumon cannot search any of our level 4s, which again is why a potential reason we could play some of the level 4 Greymons in this instead, so we could search those. But we do have a look at our hand, and Pyodramon has it on play. We play it out. We give the 4000 DP to the Agumon. Owen then allows it to attack in so we can get the final check in. Hits a 7k Rise Greymon when it was a 6k, which is really unfortunate. But they're on 0 security, and that is that. So not bad going at all. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that gameplay there. Very unfortunate for that Shine Greymon player. They to ultimately have to hard play a Shine Greymon burst mode, ultimately for it to just die. But we were quite bricky there. If we didn't have that Pyodramon, I don't know if we would have got that last check, honestly. But no, very close game there. Props to the Shine Greymon player. Let's now look at some tech cards for this Dragonkin Slop deck. So obviously, first thing you want to look at is your level 6 Dragonkins. We've got so many different War Greymons and stuff like that. Ignore this guy because he's an ancient Dragonkin. You can't use him. Obviously, if you're playing the actual deck, Medusabon, but we're not talking about Medusa. This is Slop. This isn't Medusabon. This is Slop. We avoid her and her wicked charms. So you've got all these different War Greymons you could use. If you wanted to be more defensive, you could go the Black War Greymon route and go that kind of way. You could delete tamers. You could use event like Magda Kidmon, both this one and the old one, or the new one I should say, which is the EX7. Is it EX7? EX7? 7? EX7. this guy. So you could potentially use the Magna Kid stuff. That'd be really cool. You've got Victory Greymon. You could try and use Dorbikmon in this. Maybe add a few more dinosaurs and like other dragons into it. Really cool. Then on top of that, you could also potentially use stuff like Arrested Digimon Spirit Mode. This guy basically is a staple nowadays in basically any purple red deck. You could absolutely play this in this if you wanted to. Only reason I don't is because Pyodramon kind of does a similar thing for us in the sense of it can attack past turn, whilst also being searchable, whereas the superior mode is only searchable off of our Garnet memory boost. But at the same time, he does get massive. He's a pseudo. I mean, both of these guys get massive, really. But superior mode is definitely a good way to go. Then in terms of like rookies, as I mentioned earlier, something you could look at is stuff that's got like a raid inheritable. So you could try Gatchmon. Your turn effect is not going to do anything for you. It's just raid. But you could try that. You could also try, if I just go through all of the different pages here and find the promos. Find promos. There it was. Oh, sorry, I'm there. You've got the Zubamon. So he will only give raid to the Gaiomons because they are black Digimon, whereas everything else is red. But that's an interesting thing to do. Place this Digimon as one of your other Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. Reveal the top 3 cards. Return the real cards in any order to the top or bottom of the deck. And then you have a Digimon with a Legend Arms trait. Gain 2 memory. Obviously, we don't have any Legend Arms in this. You could try and play some. I know. I think it was Avolt played some of the Legend Arms package in his version of Medusamon, but this is Dragonkin Slop, not Medusamon. They're different. Yeah. But you could definitely play the Zubamon in here to give raid. We've also got stuff like the EX9 Biomon on the way, and hopefully some more stuff for BT22 to give raid. Though saying that BT22, yeah, BT22, that BT22 stuff will hopefully just give us a whole new line. Obviously, we've already seen the Rise Greymon that's been revealed. Hopefully we'll get a new egg and all that sort of stuff for it. But yeah, Dragonkin Slop is a very funny deck, does some really cool things, can go surprisingly wide thanks to Lamiamon. It's just a fun time. I'm loving kind of using these weirder engines to do some strange stuff, and if you want to see more strange stuff whilst we're in the kind of this lull period between sets where we're kind of like, okay, we've seen all of the cool stuff from BT21, now can we get EX9 and get BT22, and we're in a bit of a lull, but I also need to try and do some testing with the EX9 stuff. Not that I'm building overly much from that set, because I'm going a bit more all in on BT22 just because I've got a lot of stuff getting support in that set in theory, whereas EX9 has only got a couple of bits for me. I definitely will be doing some updates for EX9, so stay tuned for that, and hopefully some of the guys will also be doing some proxy builds and can send me across their lists, which would be great. But I hope you guys like this one, and let me know of any improvements you guys would want to make to this deck, how you guys play Dragonkin Slop, or if you just think, why are you playing Dragonkin Slop when you could just play Medusamon? That's a valid opinion. Anyways, like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.